Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, we have some more bad news for people going to Alaska. We have some really bad news if you were involved in any of those brawls that had happened on a Carnival cruise ship. And then we have some really interesting stuff coming from that Coral Princess cruise ship where I kind of don't understand what's happening. So first off, the Quantum of the Seas announced a little while ago is having trouble with one of its engines, wasn't able to make speed on its cruises to Alaska. And because of this, they were canceling the glacier viewings because they say in a report that they sent in an email out to passengers, if they were to go into the glaciers, then they would substantially lose time in the actual cruise ports. Now, this has brought out a bunch of debates. When you go to Alaska, are you going for the cruise ports or are you going to view the glaciers? And I'd kind of say it's almost 50-50. Many people go there to see the glaciers, to see that scenic route through the nature and all the stuff that's going on in and about that area. It's absolutely breathtaking and beautiful when you go in there. I'm going back in about a month. I can't wait to get into Glacier Bay. And I know that if they canceled that on my cruise, I would be pretty disappointed. But they just announced that, yeah, it's affecting July cruises, it's affecting August cruises, and who knows how much longer that may take, be affecting other cruises because they say supply chains are the problem. Getting the parts to repair the engine is the problem. It's not the people ready to do the work. It's the fact they just can't get the parts. There's just a supply chain issue and they can't get it done in time. So hey, if you have that cruise in August, maybe into September, and then maybe if you're heading off into October, November, who knows, these cruises, this ship might not be fully repaired by then. Even if she moves out of Alaska, maybe that means some of those other itineraries she's going to be part of just won't be possible. So keep that in mind going forward. The Quantum of the Seas, yeah, keep an eye on that going forward for if you have a cruise coming up on her anytime in the next 3 or 4 months. Okay, if you were one of those people involved in the altercation, those brawls on the Carnival Legend and the other Carnival cruise ship, well, Carnival has come out and they've kind of clarified one thing, and I'm kind of glad they did. The first statements coming out, they said anybody involved in this would be banned from cruising. No longer available to cruise on any Carnival-owned cruise line. Not just Carnival, that means Holland America, Princess, P&O, you get my picture. Anything Carnival Corporation owns, you can't sail. And they're like the biggest cruise company in the world, so you're not allowed to cruise on an awful lot of ships. However, they've come out in their statement and they've clarified it saying that if you were the instigator in this fight or these arguments or these brawls, then you will be the ones who will be banned. So if you're an innocent bystander and somebody comes up and punches you in the face and you defend yourself after that, you are not the instigator. However, if you're both going toe-to-toe and yelling at each other and pushing and shoving at each other and then somebody throws a punch and you punch back, I think you're both going to be blamed for keeping that argument going. So it'll be interesting to see how many people actually get banned from these cruises. Now, if any ship is sailing from North America out of a U.S. port, all brawls and fights on cruise ships are actually reported to the FBI. It's not handled internally on the ships. It's not handled by the cruise lines. It will be handled by the FBI. So don't be surprised if one day you're just sitting there at work, minding your own business, and a federal investigator pops up, shows you their badge. that's enough to make anybody nervous. I'll tell you that for sure. So yeah, at least they clarified it that if you really are innocent in this and you just happen to get wrapped up in this big brawl, then you're probably not going to be suspended for life. But if you are in any way an instigator, bye-bye. And I think that's the way it should go, because there's no room for fighting unless it's in an arena on a cruise ship. And now I got one more story, because I've covered a couple stories now on the Coral Princess, and I'm finding out some more information today, not from the media, but from the cruise lines and the port authorities, and it kind of caught me off guard. So, but before I get there, let me just quickly invite you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. It really does help the channel out. It'll keep you up to date with all these news stories, any new ships coming online. You'll get to see more of the beautiful Celebrity Beyond coming up shortly that I'm on right now, and some of the Greek Isle cruises that I've been on, plus my Rome adventure. It's a lot of stuff. But most of all, you'll be kept up to date with protocols and safety things and new ships for when you're heading to your cruise, so you will be aware of the situation. Because sometimes the write-up on the cruise line isn't the write-up that's happening when you're actually on the ship. So I'll tell you more about that in the future, but just hit the subscribe so you don't miss any of that. Okay, the Coral Princess, much aligned right now in the media, especially in Australia, and the Daily Mail and the Guardian and places like that. And they are posting out, big catastrophe. Over 114 people have COVID on this ship, and they're not letting anybody off the ship unless they test negative, blah, 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 blah. Horrid story. And then we learn to find out, well, it's 112 of those people are crew members, and they weren't going to get off the ship anyway, and the other 4 people are passengers who weren't getting off the ship there. They're getting off in Brisbane. So yeah, it's not a real big deal. It's not a lot of big at all. But they did say when you arriving in Australia that to get off in Australia, you would have to produce a rapid antigen test, or a RAT test, as a lot of people were calling it. So people were supposed to do that to get off in Australia, just one of the precautions that was said that would be running just in case. Well, apparently, nobody asked. Nobody asked to see proof that anyone took an antigen test. Nobody was administering antigen tests on the ship. They just let people on and off the ship. Go on your excursion. We'll see you back here later. And people were really surprised and caught off guard by this. And then I've also heard that getting on the ship, most people weren't asked to provide a proof of a vaccine ahead of time either. They were asked to take one, but they never requested proof that you actually did take one. So they said they were relying on the honor system, because we know most people are very honorable and honest. And while that is completely true, I guarantee you 99 out of 100 people getting on a cruise who have slight symptoms of COVID are not going to tell anybody that they have slight symptoms of COVID. Right? Has anybody actually stepped foot on a cruise ship even before COVID happened, and they hand you that little medical questionnaire and say, how are you feeling? Has anyone said, oh yeah, I've been having heart problems, and I've been feeling really sick lately, and I've been coughing and sneezing? Has anyone ever in their lives said that, filling out those forms? How about when you're getting, when you're about to fly, and they send you that little questionnaire? Are you feeling coughing? Are you having a fever? Do you feel chills? Have you been in contact with anybody in the last... There's not a single person in this world filling out that form saying, why, yes, I am coughing lately, and I do have a fever. I guarantee you everyone's saying, no, 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 no. Yet you go to the airport, and you get on a plane, and there's people coughing and sneezing around you who obviously have something, if not just hay fever or a cold or a flu or anything. They have something. And they definitely lied on that sheet of paper. The honesty thing doesn't work. While a lot of people are very, very honest, I guarantee you, if you have a $6,000 cruise on the line, 24 hours before you're supposed to step foot on it, and you get this just saying, hey, by the way, did you take a test? Why, yes, I did. Okay, go on the ship. Everyone's going to say that. There's not one person there going to say, oh, no, I didn't. It flabbergasted me that this is a possibility that happened. And I still say those health questionnaires are a complete waste of time. Because if you look at, say, 10,000 of those questionnaires, I guarantee you, you will not find one person on there saying, I have a fever, I have a cold, and I've been sneezing in the last 24 hours. I guarantee you. And if you find one, hallelujah. You found the one honest person in the world. And it's just honest, folks. I probably would do the same thing if I got sniffles and a runny nose and that from the air conditioning in my hotel room. Am I going to tell them that when I'm getting on the cruise? Probably not. So you're either going to check for test or you might as well just get rid of the testing. It's as simple as that. Because if you're not going to actually check if anyone took the test, everybody's going to say, why, yes, I did. And thank you very much. Well, let me know what you guys think down below. Have you ever filled out that health questionnaire and said, no, oh yeah, I'm not feeling well? Check. Because I don't believe anybody out there who has actually done that in their lifetime. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.